Yo, what's up guys, this is BrendanMushi, and in this video we're going to be looking at Guilty Gear Strive's roster, and more specifically who I think is the most likely to be in the game. So we've got one character left that's unrevealed. So they revealed Anji, and that he's going to have a trailer in January. And then we know there's going to be another character revealed in the base roster alongside him, and then 5 DLC characters after that. So I took a look at some popularity polls and just my own personal opinion and a little bit of story details to come up with what I think is going to be the most likely characters to be put in the game. The roster so far is pretty decent. I was kind of thrown for a loop with Ramlethal and Leo. Like, Leo was like way out of left field. Like, I didn't see Leo coming at all. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, all right, I got to reevaluate who I think is actually going to be in this game, because I thought I knew, but apparently I don't. And I was also surprised that Ramlethal made it in over Elfelt. Like, that was super weird to me too. So the actual like base roster of the game now, a couple things I noticed. So they put the core Guilty Gear characters that have been in every Guilty Gear game. I guess it would be like the Street Fighter 2 World Warriors of the Guilty Gear franchise, right? And that's basically every character that was in Guilty Gear 1 except minus Testament and Justice, because they were boss characters. Biken, she was a secret character, and Cliff, because nobody cares about him. No, he that's kind of true, but yeah, Cliff just isn't as popular as the other characters. He didn't make it into Xrd, and so they basically took those core characters minus those ones that I mentioned, made sure they were in the game, and then it seems like they added 2 new characters, Nagoriyuki and Giovanna, and 2 Xrd characters, Leo and Ramlethal, and then so far 1 XX character, which was Anji. And so I'm wondering if maybe the last character is also going to be another XX character as far as representation. I don't know. So since Leo and Ramlethal made it into the game, I was thinking I should revisit looking at who is the most likely to be in the game and who I want to be in the game. Who I want to be in the game is really easy. So there's 6 slots left. So I would say Testament, 2 more times, Testament again, and Testament. So that one's pretty easy. And then as far as the characters that I think will actually make it into the game, conveniently, your boy put together a tier list based on what I think is going to happen. So let's take a look. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and put together a tier list based on who I think is most likely to be in the game. Your opinion might differ from mine, whatever. This is totally my opinion based on what I think. So as you'll notice, I already got Slayer. F's in the chat for Slayer. I got him in Nagoriyuki tier. I'm honestly kind of memeing, like, Slayer could actually still be in the game, but like, it's not looking good for him. It's really hard to see him in the game when Nagoriyuki literally has his animations. Like, literally, like, when he gets KO'd, he's got the pose where he's laying on the ground comfortably. He's got the blood-sucking universe. He's a vampire. I mean, like, there's nothing stopping them from putting Slayer in the game with Nagoriyuki, but I just don't see it happening personally. So for that reason, Slayer is down in Nagoriyuki tier. So if you're a Slayer main, I'm sorry. I feel your pain. All right, so the character that I think is the most likely to return, and this is obviously we're not including new characters because I'm not psychic, so I'm not going to know who new character is, Biken. I think Biken is the most likely character to return. She's insanely popular. Arxis, if you ever follow their Twitter, they love, they, let's just say they love Biken for 2 key reasons. And also they like Biken's feet for whatever reason. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if she is the final character. If you notice that most of the announcements, they're pretty, like, they usually grouped the characters up for a reason, kind of. Right? Like, Sol and Kai were obviously the first 2 characters to be announced. And then after that, it became like classic Guilty Gear characters. But they did reveal Milia and Zato together. So there is some kind of relationships, not all the time. But, and if you also consider that Anji, who has a relationship with Biken, like not romantically, but like the characters are related in the story. If you factor in that Anji is the second to last character being revealed in January, it wouldn't surprise me if Biken and Anji were revealed alongside each other. If not, I can definitely consider her being one of the 5 DLC characters. Next character in high key likely, Johnny. Johnny, also extremely popular character, leading the charge on a lot of the popularity polls. He's also the flagship character of the most dominant Guilty Gear Xrd player, Omito, godlike Johnny player, and he played him in XX as well. So yeah, it'd be really unfortunate if the most dominant player didn't have his main. And also because this character is so dominant, it's like every time you go online in Xrd, it's just like nothing but Johnnies. Like there's nothing but Johnnies. And I know because I'm one of them, because I picked up Johnny because he's big broke. So he's also just really fucking cool. Like he's hella fucking cool. Like I would love to see Johnny return to this game. Next, in high key likely, I am gonna go with this is where it gets kind of hard. I'm gonna go with Dizzy. This is where it gets kind of difficult because I feel like these two, Biken and Johnny, are probably the two most likely for sure. After here, you can kind of go with a couple of different characters, but my gut feeling says Dizzy. Because I also want to factor in that the story, I feel like, plays an important role in what characters get selected as well. Like for example, I feel like maybe Leo is in the game. Like Daisuke Shibutari said that Leo's in the game because Leo's easy to play and he wanted an easy to play character. I mean, whatever. I mean, Kai and Soul already exist. You could have made any character easy if you wanted to. But I know that Leo plays an important role in the story. Characters like Elfelt, Sin, a lot of those characters are important to the main story. Dizzy, for example, as well. And Dizzy also was ranked very high on the popularity. She was the boss character of one of the games, and the game is severely lacking in boss characters right now. Although she's not like an antagonist or anything, still, it would be cool to have her as a representation of that. So I think that Dizzy is very highly likely to be one of the DLC. Very popular character, as she was DLC in Xrd as well. Next, I'm going to say Bridget. Bridget was the highest ranked popularity character in Japan. I think Bridget has an extremely unique playstyle that would be a breath of fresh air to the aggression and fucking damage that is Xrd. And also, I noticed that a lot of people in the Guilty Gear community find representation with Bridget, since Bridget is a he that represents as female. So there's a lot of that in the FGC, so that representation is pretty cool too. So I think that Bridget's popularity, not being in Xrd, the representation, and the playstyle gives him a very, very good shot at being included in the game as either the final character or a DLC. Because like I mentioned before, that they included the base Guilty Gear roster, 2 new characters, 2 Xrd characters, and so far just 1 XX character. So I feel like that maybe they got to do 1 more XX character. And if it was to be anyone, I think that Bridget would be a really good option for that, right? I think so. All right, next in high key likely, Sin. Even though I really don't care for Sin that much at all, but he was an important character in Guilty Gear Overture. Also extremely important to the story. So clearly Daisuke Shibutari really likes this character. So I could see him being in the game just because his character model is probably going to be in the story. Like I don't see how Sin wouldn't be involved in the story. And so if a character is going to have a character model and be in the story, like Arxis is going to jump at the chance to reuse that. Like that's just how it works. So I don't see how somebody so important to the story could not have that happen. That's what I think, right? And then I'm going to put 6 characters in here since there's 6 characters being revealed. I know likely one of them might be a new character, but just for the sake of the fact that there's 6 guaranteed characters left, I'm going to put 1 more character up here, and I'm going to pick Elfelt. I think Sin and Elfo are probably the 2 most popular Xrd characters. They're extremely prevalent in the story. How the fuck Ramlethal made it in over Elfelt, I will never know. I'm actually really surprised about that. I'm surprised Elfelt and Sin haven't already been announced, but since the roster is a bit smaller than people anticipated, they're not in the game. So I'm thinking that DLC, Sin and Elfelt, I could totally see that. So now we move over to likely. So these are the characters that maybe they've shown up a little bit lower on the popularity polls. They are popular characters, but that you could see them being left out, just like how some XX characters got left out of Xrd. It's like you could see them being left out, but like at the same time, they are probably more likely because maybe they're still relevant to the story or they haven't died or some shit like that. So the first one I'm going to put up here, I'm going to say Ino. I think Ino is high key likely, does pretty decent on popularity polls. boss character. We need some more like antagonists, like more villainous type characters. And I wouldn't worry too much about characters' playstyles. Like, literally, if Zato can be put in the game and Milia still has Disco Key, like, I don't, and Axel, you know, still has Keep Away, Potemkin still a slow grappler, like, I don't think that there's any character that they're not going to be willing to put in the game. They might play a little bit different, but I don't think they're afraid of not putting in certain types of characters. So I don't think that Ino would not be put in the game. I can understand how being afraid of, like, them putting in Hover Dash in the game, but they'll figure out a way. They'll just probably adjust her in some kind of way to play a little bit differently. But yeah, Ino. Next, I would say Jam. Kind of similarly, I think the Jam's also a really popular character. A character that a lot of people expected to return, but we haven't seen anything of her. It's possible she might get left out in this iteration, but I do think that, especially with Giovanna being included, she might have to actually get knocked down just because of Giovanna. Now that I think about it, yeah, I don't know. Normally I would think that Jam would be likely, but I'm actually, you know what? I might actually just move her down. Like, Giovanna might have actually just kicked her down a little bit, just because, like, I feel like Giovanna kind of fills the role that Jam would. I feel like anyone who plays Jam for her playstyle probably would gravitate towards Giovanna anyway at this point. So yeah, actually, you know what? We're gonna get a sneak preview at maybe and throw Jam in there. All right, so next and likely, we're gonna throw fucking Testament. So we're gonna throw Testament and likely. I'm not super up to date on Guilty Gear's story. Like, I know like quite a bit about the story up until Xrd, but from Xrd and on, I don't really know a whole lot about the story. I've heard people say that for story reasons, Testament can't come back. I don't really know fucking why, because number one, fighting game stories really don't tend to really care that much. Like, they'll usually find any excuse to just bring a character back. I mean, Zato literally died, and they were just like, all right, he's not dead anymore. Like, you know, like, or they're just like, hey, like, yo, we like, that man took a copy of Justice, like half of Justice's soul, and put it into another body and made Jacko, who is Arya, right? Like, I mean, like, they don't care. Like, even if, like, for some reason he is dead, who gives a shit? He's a boss character. He was like the sub-boss character of 2 Guilty Gear games, right? And so I think that he is a very nostalgic character, and he should come back. He needs to come back. I think that he is likely to be one of the 5 DLC. But I think that the other characters I put in high key likely are more prevalent to the story. They rank higher on popularity. So I think those characters are more likely than him, but I think him and Ino, I think, are close behind them. And possibly, you know, they could be up there if they ignore the popularity contests, but like, why hold those if you're not gonna like consider that? You know, it's kind of weird. All right, next. So that's it for high key likely and likely. Next, we're gonna go into maybe tier. And the first one I'm gonna throw in there is second one I'm gonna throw in there is Raven. So Raven is one of those characters where it's like he could come back, but at the same time, it's like he's not exactly the most popular character. Like, there's so many other characters I feel like that could get put in over him, but I don't see any like specific story reason to why he couldn't make it into the game. The only reason he's really in maybe instead of not likely is because of the fact that Leo made it into the game. And ever since Leo made it in, it's like, okay, like, I guess they'll just let anyone in this bitch now. So Raven's gonna go in maybe. Next in maybe, I'm gonna put Venom, and some people might disagree with me because Venom's like a fucking baker now. But like, look, like, it's not like Venom is like dead or sealed in another dimension or something like that. Like, it wouldn't be that hard for like them to just be like, hey Venom, we need you to do some assassin shit real quick, and then Venom's just like, all right, I got you, and then just change his clothes and he's Venom again. And as far as like playstyle, because some people might think like, oh well, like Venom's playstyle might not fit. I was worried that Zato's playstyle wouldn't fit, and Zato's playstyle is intact. So I mean, I'm sure Venom would be toned down in some way, but they would make a way for him to fit in Strive. So I'm putting him in maybe tier. Also in maybe tier, Abba. I think that I think with her that like they know that people would be excited to see a returning character come back, such as her, because she is a likable character. She might not be the most popular character, but I think that people would be excited to see her. There's no like specific reason why they like couldn't. Like, there's no specific reason why you wouldn't see her. And I think that her playstyle is one of the most unique playstyles. Like, I absolutely love like her switching between the two modes, the high risk, high reward. It's really sick. So I think that she might, and maybe you could make the argument that Nagoriyuki's playstyle might kind of deconfirm hers, but I don't think they're similar enough for that to happen. So I'm gonna put her in maybe. And then next I'm gonna say Justice. Again, boss character, very popular character, and I think like for the same reason as I said Testament, I think just the nostalgia, right, of like getting people back into a Guilty Gear game, like just the nostalgia of like, oh, like this is fucking Justice, like Justice is finally playable again. Like I could totally see that happening. If there's some kind of story reason that I don't know about because I haven't finished the Exerd story yet, that's fine. My answer to that is just gonna be they can just pull some bullshit and make Justice come back because they can. And they don't underestimate the power of fighting game story modes. They don't care. So that's not going to stop me from putting her in maybe tier. Okay, so next we got not likely. So I'm going to start this off with Taehyun. I do not see this character coming back. If I fucking see this character come back, my jaw is literally going to hit the floor. Like, I just don't see it. Like, and it's like, not that I have anything against Taehyun, it's just that I don't think this character is very popular at all. Like, I just don't. Like, their first appearance was in Exerd, didn't really like hit it off the same way that characters like Elfelt and Sin did. So yeah, I just don't see it happening. Next, I'm gonna say Answer. Answer also not likely tier for pretty much the same reasons. Like, almost nobody plays this character. He's cool, like he's very tricky to play. Again, like Leo was put in the game, so anything could happen. You never know, but I just don't see it happening. I mean, Chip's already in the game. There's way more characters that are more deserving of a spot than these two, so I don't see it happening. Next, Zappa. As much as I would love to see Zappa come back, and you could use my own logic against me, but I feel like the fact that they like, I don't know the exact story, but I remember seeing an excerpt that like, Zappa's like a fucking pilot now, and I don't think he's cursed anymore, right? And so you could use my own logic against me and be like, well, like, yeah, they could just make up some bullshit and then make him cursed again. But like the fact that he didn't even come back in Exerd, it's like, okay, like they didn't want to bring him back in Exerd, like now do they just all of a sudden want to bring him back in Strive? Like, you clearly didn't forget about him. Like, you put him in the story and you still didn't bring his ass back. So, I mean, I feel like if you really wanted Zappa in the game, if you liked him that much, he would have been there. So I feel like it's a little bit different. Whereas like Venom, I feel like is much more of a core character to the franchise than Zappa is as well. So that's why I think I could see Zappa. I could see Venom, you know, putting the bread away, right, and picking up the pool stick. I don't know if I can see Zappa getting cursed again and fucking stop being a soldier or fighter pilot or whatever and coming back. It's possible, but I feel like Venom would be more likely than him. Next in not likely, unfortunately, Robokai, because I think Robokai is extremely unique. If I remember correctly, I believe Robokai like fucking dies in the story or something like that, because like him and Venom like fight Bedman, but I'm pretty sure he actually ends up surviving and him and Venom become like boys or something like that. Anyway, yeah, he could come back. I just don't think it's very likely for him to. Maybe he might come back as like a skin or something like that. Kind of in the same way that I think that maybe like Order Soul would maybe be like a skin like for Soul. There's actually no like Order Soul here on this like tier list here, so I'm just gonna like have regular Soul represent that and also throw that in not likely for the same reason as Robokai. The only way is that maybe Arxis, in true Dragon Ball Fighters fashion, is just like, yo, let's just reuse this asset because fuck it, because it takes a lot of time to make these character models. So let's just make Robokai and Order Soul. That's the only way these two characters are coming back. I do think that Order Soul is pretty popular, so it could be likely because of that. It's hard to say, but I think that people want to see more unique characters, and I think Arxis knows that and will try to adhere to that. But we will see. We will see. Because I definitely would not be upset about Order Soul or really any of these characters. But we will get to the characters that I might be upset about. Okay, so next is Bedman. Bedman literally died. So unless his sister, Couch Bitch or Chair Girl or whatever you want to call her, Love Seat Woman, whatever you want to call her. So unless she takes his place, I don't see him coming back. If he does come back, if anyone in this row comes back, I'm going to freak the fuck out. Not saying I won't be excited. Unless it's like Haehyun or Answer, then I'm not going to be excited. One of my homies plays Bedman, so I'll be excited for him. But Zappa would be fucking dope, honestly. I would fucking... God, the character's so unique. I love unique playstyles, if you couldn't tell. Like, Zappa, fucking Robo-Kai. I love seeing different unique playstyles and characters that are just, like, interesting to play. And I'm about to basically contradict what I just said, but in Please Don't tier, we got Jacko, and that's just a personal vendetta. Fuck this character. Not as a character. As a character, she's pretty cool, but I've been locked down in the corner by good Jackos too much to where this character is just fucking cancer. Like, the way that she plays is just AIDS. I'm basically memeing, but like I'm also not. Fuck this character. And then finally Cliff. Bro, I'm gonna keep it real. So for any Cliff fans out there, for like all three of you, if this nigga makes it in, bro, I swear to God, bruh, this is like the only whack Guilty Gear character. I just don't fuck with Cliff. I think Cliff is fucking lame. I can't do it. Like, bro, like if you don't get your fucking old ass, crusty ass, dusty ass, kitchen knife wielding ass on somewhere, like nope, I'm good. So yeah, this is who I think is the most likely to come back in Guilty Gear Strive. I mean, because again, there's one character in the base roster. I think it's likely to be either a returning XX character, because again, we've got the base Guilty Gear roster. They added 2 Xrd characters, and then they added 2 new characters, and then so far they've shown off 1 returning XX character. So I think the last character is either Baiken or it's a returning XX character that we haven't seen. So my prediction is it's either Baiken, because the Baiken and Anji reveal, that makes sense. Or it's Anji and another XX character to represent that franchise, which I think would be Bridget due to popularity polls, or Testament due to being a nostalgic boss character, or Justice. In the event that it is a new character, my assumption is that it's that man. That would be my assumption. I didn't really talk about non-playable characters, but that man would also be a pretty hype reveal because, you know, he's been that man like since the beginning of the series, but he's not playable. So I think that'd be pretty cool too. So this is my list. This is my personal opinion. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. If you enjoyed, make sure to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, all that jazz. And as usual, I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.